This is one of the most disturbing true horror cases ever recorded. A place so terrifying, people refused to stay for even 10 minutes. And what happened to the last person who entered still remains unexplained. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this place was permanently sealed. Our story begins in a small, forgotten town in the English countryside, with a house known to locals as Blackwood Manor. Built in the late 1700s, its history is soaked in darkness. The original owner, a reclusive man named Alistair Finch, was accused of practicing dark arts after a series of children went missing from the nearby village. He was eventually found lifeless in his study, having taken his own life. But the children were never found. Over the next 2 centuries, the manor passed through countless hands, but no one ever stayed for long. Families reported hearing whispers and seeing shadows dancing in the firelight. During the Victorian era, a group of spiritualists attempted to hold a seance there, hoping to contact the spirits of the missing children. The session ended in chaos when every mirror in the house shattered simultaneously. Locals have whispered for generations that Alistair Finch's malevolent spirit still wanders the halls, seeking new victims to torment. The house sat abandoned for decades, a rotting monument to its own tragic past, a place everyone knew to avoid. That is, until 2012, when a young man named Liam, an aspiring writer looking for solitude, bought the property for a surprisingly low price. He was skeptical of the local legends, dismissing them as old folk tales meant to scare kids. He saw a beautiful, historic home in need of some love, a perfect, quiet retreat to finish his novel. The first week was ideal. The silence was exactly what he needed. He spent his days repairing the old house and his nights writing by the fireplace. But soon, the little things started. He'd hear faint footsteps on the floor above him. Even though he was completely alone, he'd blame it on the old house settling. Then, he'd catch fleeting shadows in the corner of his eye. But when he turned, nothing was there. He started noticing cold spots that would appear and disappear in random parts of the house, so cold he could see his breath. At night, just as he was drifting off to sleep, he'd hear what sounded like faint, indistinct whispers, like a radio playing in another room. Doors he knew he'd closed would be found slightly ajar. Still, he rationalized everything, convinced it was just his imagination playing tricks on him in the isolating silence. The third week is when things became undeniably wrong. Liam had set up a small digital recorder on his desk to capture ideas for his book. One night, he left it running while he went to make some tea. When he played it back, he heard his own footsteps, the kettle whistling, and then something else. A low, guttural voice, right next to the recorder, whispered a single word: "Get." The blood drained from his face. There was no one else in the house. A few days later, he was taking pictures of the renovated library to send to his family. As he scrolled through them on his phone, his camera app suddenly glitched. The screen flickered, and for a split second, an image flashed up. It was a picture of the same room, but dark, and in the center, a tall, distorted shadow stood where he had just been standing. He tried to find the image again, but it was gone, as if it never existed. That night, as he sat frozen in his chair, a heavy book flew off a high shelf and crashed to the floor, pages fluttering open. No draft, no vibration. It had been thrown. He knew then that he wasn't alone. The paranormal activity began to escalate violently. It started with loud, rhythmic knocks on his bedroom wall in the middle of the night. 3 sharp knocks, a pause, and then 3 more. They were so forceful, the whole wall seemed to vibrate. Soon, the faint footsteps in the hallway became heavy, deliberate stomps, pacing back and forth just outside his door. He would lie in bed, paralyzed with fear, listening to the sound of someone breathing in the darkness of his room, a raspy, labored sound that was definitely not his own. Doors would no longer just creak open. They would slam shut with incredible force, shaking the entire house. His dog, a brave German shepherd named Buster, refused to go upstairs anymore. Buster would stand at the bottom of the staircase, hackles raised, barking aggressively at the empty landing. Liam invited his friend Mark over, hoping a second opinion would prove he wasn't going crazy. Mark left after just 2 hours, pale and shaken, swearing he saw a dark human-like silhouette watching them from the end of the long hallway. He refused to ever come back. Desperate, Liam installed a few small CCTV cameras. Reviewing the footage the next morning, he saw it. A grainy but unmistakable dark shape moving slowly across the living room while he slept. The main horror event, the one that broke him, happened on his final night in the house. He was woken up around 3 a.m. by an overwhelming sense of dread. The air was He opened his eyes, and there, standing at the foot of his bed, was a full-body shadow figure. It was impossibly tall, its form dark and wavering like heat haze, but it had a distinct human shape. He couldn't see a face, just a void of absolute blackness. He was completely frozen, unable to scream or even breathe. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, watching him. Then, he heard it, the sound of heavy chains dragging slowly across the wooden floor, getting closer and closer. The figure raised a long, shadowy arm and pointed a slender finger directly at him. A whisper, cold and clear, echoed right beside his ear, though nothing was there. It said, "Mine." At that exact moment, the bedside lamp flickered violently before the bulb exploded, showering the room in darkness and sparks. He finally found his voice and let out a scream. That was the breaking point. Liam scrambled out of bed, tripping over himself in the pitch black. He ran for his life, not even bothering to grab his keys or his wallet. As he fumbled with the front door lock, he felt an icy grip on his ankle, trying to pull him back into the house. He kicked out wildly, connected with nothing, and threw the door open. He sprinted out into the cold night, not stopping to look back. As he ran, the front door slammed shut behind him with a deafening boom that echoed through the silent town. A neighbor, woken by the sound, later told police he saw a tall, dark figure standing in the upstairs window, watching Liam flee. Liam never returned to the house. He left everything behind: his clothes, his laptop, his unfinished novel, and never looked back. After Liam's harrowing escape, he reported the incident to the local authorities. While they were skeptical, his genuine terror was undeniable. Given the house's long and sinister history, they took the unusual step of officially sealing the property. It was boarded up, with warning signs posted, and declared unfit for habitation. Today, Blackwood Manor stands empty and decaying, an object of fear and fascination. Locals still report hearing strange noises from within its walls: cries, whispers, and the sound of dragging chains. Urban explorers who have tried to sneak in have captured EVPs and photos of strange anomalies, but no one has dared to spend the night. The case of what exactly resides in Blackwood Manor remains unsolved, a terrifying testament to a place that refuses to let its occupants live in peace. Some stories don't end. They wait for someone new to experience them. If you want more real horror like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon before the next story finds you first.